Welcome to Sage Audio. Today we're covering the top 11 stereo width tips. But first, if you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us to receive a free mastered sample of it with the link in the description. Don't use delay-based stereo expanders. Although you can get away with using delay-based stereo imagers on an individual instrument once in a while, you should typically avoid them due to the phase cancellation that they cause. Granted, phase cancellation will always come into play when widening the image, but certain expanders cause more artifacts. This is especially true when it comes to your mix bus or your master, where you should almost never use a delay-based stereo imager. Let's take a listen to one being used on a mix bus and notice how the mix becomes washed out. Using left-right EQ. A safer way to expand your stereo image is to use a left-right EQ and create two bells, one on the left and one on the right, then vary their frequencies slightly. This is going to cause the left and right channels to be louder, but at different frequencies. As a result, the image sounds wider, but without too many artifacts or unwanted phase cancellations. Let's take a listen and notice how this sounds a lot cleaner than Chapter 1's demonstration. If you're enjoying the video, hit the like button. It helps us bring you more videos. Using mid-side EQ. Similar to our last chapter, you can use a mid-side EQ to expand the stereo image. You can pick which frequencies you'd like to expand and amplify them on the side image or attenuate them on the mid image. A high shelf on the side image works well. Or say I want the processing of the vocal to come through a bit more, but I only have the stereo mix. I can increase roughly 2 kHz on the side image with a bell. Let's take a listen to these two filters being added to our mix bus. Natural sounding stereo placement. When mixing, if you create two identical signals, you can use an EQ on one to cause natural sounding stereo placement. So say if I want my guitar to be on the left, I can duplicate it, pan the two tracks hard left and right, then EQ one of them. For our example, I'll use a high-pass filter on the right guitar, making the guitar's lows sound as if they're on the left. By duplicating and panning left and right, we're basically creating a mono signal since everything is identical, but making this change to the frequency response will shift the perceived placement. Let's take a listen and notice how we can shift the placement. Only a small percentage of people that watch our videos are subscribed, so if you're enjoying the video, consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind. Using mid-side saturation. If we have a mid-side saturator, we can saturate either the mid or side to add more signal to one or the other. This creates a more centered or expanded image, respectively. For example, I could saturate the mid-frequency range and pan the saturation to the side image to make it wider. Since the saturation isn't always happening, this expansion will be program dependent as well. Let's take a listen and notice how the subtle expansion sounds dynamic. Modulated mid-side saturation. If our saturator offers modulation, we can take this a step further by linking an oscillator or an envelope to our panning or a drive function. For example, I'll create an envelope follower and attach it to the drive function's panning so that when we get a transient, the harmonics are panned. Similar to before, we can get dynamic saturation, but this way we have a lot more control over the behavior of the saturator. Let's take a listen to this example and consider how it's different from the previous one. Dynamic mid-side or left-right EQ. If our left-right or mid-side EQ offers dynamic processing, we can use it to make our expansion program dependent. So let's create the same bands that we used in chapters 2 and 3, but this time make them dynamic and increase their ranges to expand the bands. We'll notice that the expansion is now contingent upon the incoming signal, in turn linking the dynamics of the track and the stereo expansion. Let's take a listen and notice how it varies from the demonstrations in chapters 2 and 3. If you're enjoying the channel, join the community with the link in the description. Mid-side compression or limiting. If a compressor or a limiter offers mid-side compression or limiting, we can use it to dynamically expand the stereo image. The reason being the most powerful signals like the kick and bass will typically be in the mid image, causing more compression to the mid than the side. As a result, whenever the kick or bass hits, the mid is going to be compressed, leaving the side at a louder level comparatively. This isn't the best technique for retaining dynamics, but it works well at stereo expansion. Let's take a listen. Mono or stereo low frequencies. A common question is whether or not the lows should be made mono or kept stereo. On one hand, you get a more driving low range and reduced phase cancellation. On the other, you may lose some of what makes the mix unique. You can use a high pass on the side image and cut the lows from the side, and from there determine how much to cut off. As you'd imagine, this is going to reduce the width, but it can have a very beneficial effect on your mix. Let's take a listen to the lows being made mono up to about 100 Hz. Creating wide transients. One challenge with stereo expansion is making the side image more detailed since a lot of the softer elements are on the side. One solution is to duplicate the signal, use the free plugin MSED on both, and isolate the mid on one channel and the side on the other. Then you can place a transient expander on the side imaged signal. This is a bit unorthodox, but it has a cool effect that's difficult to achieve otherwise. Let's take a listen to it and notice how much detail we can get on the side image. Separating mid and side for processing. Similar to our last tip, we can use the same MSED plugin to separate our signals and then use any form of processing that we discussed before to process our mid and side separately. So say we don't have a mid-side EQ, now we can simply EQ the side channel. The same could be said about compression, expansion, or any other form of processing. Let's listen to mid-side equalization, but use an analog emulated plugin on the side channel that normally wouldn't offer mid-side processing. Let's listen and notice how we can expand the stereo image. If you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us to receive a free mastered sample of it with the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching.